Hello and welcome to another episode of the Yascast with me, Yaseen. You should probably know that by now. This is episode FFX-2, which is the 11th episode in the series. Isn't that crazy? 11 episodes already. That's like one more than 10 and at least three more than four, I think. Anyway, enough about that. We have, for the first time ever, two returning guests. And not only that, but the first two guests of the Yascast ever. Before you listen to this episode, I highly recommend that you listen to episode question mark, which is the first episode. That was with Jo. And episode 2, which is the second episode. And that was with Kris. And speaking of them, it's Jo and Kris. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, well, it's Jo and Kris. That's crazy. Both of tech.lgbt fame. So that's Shadow Jonathan at tech.lgbt, and Kris is Andali at tech.lgbt. It's so lovely to have you both here again.
Thank you.
It's
And
thank you.
it's really good to be here once more as well. I'm gonna feel much better than last time, so my performance should be a little bit better.
Fantastic.
I'm mellowed out right now. Like it's one of those kind of it's a Tuesday. Actually, no, that doesn't say anything. But for me, it's just like one of those days where just you just sit at home with your cozy pajama pants, and just be like, yes, I am not a functioning member of society right now.
Excellent. That's great. I'm glad both of you are here and ready to enjoy. So usually this is the point where I ask you like about your Fedi history and stuff, but we've already discussed that and there's no point doing it again. And there's no point doing a compressed version either because it's too insanely long. So how has things been since the first time we spoke on this episode? How have things changed for you? You know, it's been at least I think three months now, I think.
4? Like
Yes.
recently, I finished my semester, and as part of it, I needed to do like a review kind of thing, and so I finally got things to be able to place on a chronological timescale, human timescale, whereas my brain just does non-linear time history stuff. I don't remember anything, Justin. I don't remember. It was an exercise for me to remember my whole school career, but yeah, something like 4 months. Just yeah.
It's crazy, and of course, it's perfectly symbolic that it's the two of you that
Kris.
come.
Yeah, Kris, what about you?
It kind of feels like one giant blur in my head.
Same.
Doesn't really. It's hard for me to even like pick out any specific events or days that happened over the course of the past 2 months. So
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
basically it just have this giant just mind fog. Everything.
But I think it's absolutely great that you two are the first guest after my previous episode because it makes sense to symbolically, I think, start the next kind of period of episodes with you two since you both were the first two guests. I think that's quite nice. That's kind of symbolism,
Yeah.
you know, kind of like a rhyme, I guess, in a way of episodes.
It really is, and as I said, I'm very happy to be here, and kind of scared also, scared of the question.
Scared of the questions that I have for you?
Yeah.
Don't worry.
I don't know. I didn't read them this time, so I'm
the questions are others. Okay, you didn't read those questions. All right.
I have them in my head, and when I saw them, I had some like pre-arranged responses, but now my brain is just in the process of shutting off. So when I'm like, hey, can I get those answers for those questions? It's like it's just.
Hey, don't worry. We'll get there when we get there. Okay. What's important is that we're gonna be here and have a chill time together. That's it. So my first question to the two of you is, you know, why you two friends? You know, why was there anything in particular being on tech.lgbt together that kind of drew you together?
I don't remember anything specific. It's just like some people you just kind of vibe with, like sort of huge interface overlap of like, oh yeah, you do this you do some things which make my brain go pretty
Yeah,
nice.
kind of same on my end. I mean, I joined Fedi about a year ago and feels
That's
like
right. Yep.
10. I feel more like 10 years ago at this point. As long as I've been here, I've seen Joe, and Joe has been always making really
Reddit is
cool
the only
posts.
platform I've
So
ever knew.
yeah, no,
I've
no. Then
known.
I just Joe's posts clicked with me, and I found him
I think.
really cool, and that's pretty much it. I don't remember much past that, and I met Joe in real life, and
Oh
yeah,
yeah, you have.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
how was that? Can you tell me about that?
yeah. I can tell. I can pretty much talk about. So yeah, we were just Fetty mutuals until the point where Chris was like, "Hey, can you go to an underground concert in a very small, packed area of Wrocław? I'm probably butchering that. With me, like 100 people, called Return to the Batcave."
Hmm.
And for me, it was just so out of the blue because, to be honest, nobody has ever invited me going anywhere. So it's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna give this. I'm just gonna do this. Did it? I went to Poland. I went to the festival. I was super nervous on the first day. Chris, can you tell more about like the premise of the event? Because right now I'm just trying to remember all of it.
yeah, sure. Well, basically, RTDB is Return to the Batcave. The best way to describe it is post-punk music event. It's just a little local festival in Wrocław in Poland. It's called Return to the Batcave because the original club in London in the 70s and 80s, where the goth subculture was born, or at least it could be said that it was born there.
Hmm.
So all of the OG like goth bands, so Bauhaus, Alien Sex Fiend, Susie and the Banshees, and so forth, played there originally. That's where the subculture was born. Likewise, the that's the reason why the festival is called like that. And in general, it's a very much DIY festival.
Very old school in that
Yeah,
sense.
extremely old school. Like kind of everybody knows everybody. You just chat to
Hmm.
the musicians wherever you can go. Ask them to. I can go for a beer with them after their play.
It,
Yeah, it's literally, it feels like it's in a squat. The venue it's at, it's
yeah.
very much
So
like a
it,
running kind of a building.
at the end, okay, I want to give my impression of how it was. Like, I was just given a address which on Google Maps and such just looked like to be in the middle of the city. I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do this, and so my brain just arranged hotel, flights, and all of that. But I did not really fully realize what it was about until I like entered the venue, which
The
is some
threshold.
kind. So okay, I'm just gonna paint a picture here. So in the Polish cities, there are blocks which are just like squarish blocks. So the venue is inside one of these blocks. Then there's an open area, sort of like inside square sort of thing. But then there are some old buildings. Then I go. Then you go there past the gate. Then it's like some kind of pub-ish street kind of thing.
Hmm.
And then in one of those buildings is the venue. Like some, it's a dark stage. It's a dark room where they just shut off the lights with the stage on one end, and when the music starts, is the only light is coming from the stage. It's very surreal, but it's also very loud and very hot. So the first night there was just kind of like an eye opener to me because I've never been really exposed to Gothic culture. I heard about it a lot. I really like the vibes, or at least the principle of the vibes. In re, Eventually, I realized that my assessment was basically right. Everyone so one of the things I really need to get out of the way, and I'm just gonna Chris can probably just info dump anyone about it, but I want to say that Gothic culture being associated with violence and all sort of stuff is like no.
Of course, I
I'm
agree.
I'm I'm trying to remember my exact thoughts on it, but the 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 the, the thing is that the whole thing with Gothic culture, at least from my assessment, is just and Kris is in the call, so I'm I have to be correct
Oh,
about
please,
this.
don't worry.
Don't
No,
worry,
it's
don't worry.
I'm partially joking, but what it just speaks to me is some kind of like some of the music you've shown me to listen to, and some of the vibes you've given me really speak
Mhm,
to me. One of the things you said was like Gothic culture is trying to find beauty in darkness, and then
mhm,
the specific definitions of darkness. Gothic culture is not angry. If
Mm,
anything, it's trying to find some. It's trying to map that kind of dark woods kind of thing of sadness, of grief, of not sad I want to say hard emotions, but like not even negative emotions. It's basically just like the yeah, more or less negative emotions. Trying to map the dark woods of the negative emotions, more or
right.
less. Just finding a way inside of it. Just being familiar familiarized with it, so you can traverse on your own. That's basically my kind of idea of what it's about. What that what that creates in my experience are some of more of the the kind of kindness people I think I know. Not really. Well, maybe not really, but amongst them. So basically, so when we were at the festival, it was extremely crowded at one of the third days. Like it was, which days was it, Kris? It was
It's Thursday, Friday,
Tuesday, Friday, and
Saturday.
Saturday. Yes. So on Friday, it was kind of more crowded than usual because it was a Friday. But the only weird event, like the festival was extremely crowded. There were a lot of people. A lot of things could have gone wrong. But the only people who ever made anything of a ruckus were some random offer scorers or like football people who went to the bar and then kind of made a mess over there. Like that was the biggest event.
Mhm.
The rest was just just people dressed up in all kind of get-ups, makeups, gothic outlooks. One person was dressed up as the Joker, which was yeah, green hair, and I was like, oh, how did you do it? And they actually went on explaining how they did their hair. Like it's a really long process and all sorts of stuff. It gives me, to some kind of sense, it gives me Fetty vibe, which is very
Right.
kind of well, saying Fetty vibes doesn't narrow it down, but like queer, soft Fetty sort of vibes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Music was very loud. It was just a room. I have my earbuds with active noise canceling, trying to get it down from 110 to 90, which of decibels, which is a lot. I've never been to a concert, so for me it was just also one of those
Ah,
first
I
experiences.
see. I
Yeah,
see.
I don't go to concerts. It's just kind of too loud. But this vibe of like, yeah, everyone here is the same. You can talk to all of the artists. You can talk to anyone. You can just associate, mingle, and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, that would work with me. Not like formal. Oh, you need to buy a ticket. You need to stand here and not hope that someone from the Travis Scott concert has planned all of the the places in the audience. So yeah,
That's
no,
fantastic. I'm.
it feels also very homey, and it really like it feels that Kris almost personally knows knows the organizer. I don't know if that's true, but that's
It
the
is true.
vibe.
Oh. Okay.
No, that's the
Oh.
vibe.
That explains it.
But at the same time, it's this concert where not concert. It's this festival, this venue where when I listen around, I hear a lot of old people reminiscing of the old Batcave in London. But at the same time, I've heard someone say, like, yeah, the scene, I expected the scene to change in the last 40 years, but it's basically that everyone I knew from there is here. That's also very interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I'm very happy that you liked it, and it was pleasure to be able to meet you there, and I hope I'll get to meet you there again this year.
Yes.
And you, Yassi, are invited as well, and I will
Oh,
pester
that's
you
fantastic.
about it.
Oh
Of
yes.
course, of course. Yes, he should definitely do a Polish tour
Yeah,
and a Dutch tour too, and a German tour. Basically, a tour of Europe at
Europe.
this rate.
yeah. But the way you described it, yeah, it makes me really happy that you have all these thoughts about just based on the event. I usually don't. Well, it's very hard for me to kind of like explain my emotions about the subculture and the music in itself. I usually, whenever I describe the music, I just end up basically focusing on the technicals. So the specific genres of music, what evolved from what, some particular themes, or basically the way the music sounds itself by itself, and rather than any emotions associated with them, because I feel like it's less likely that this will lead to situations to people saying things like Kanye is goth or some shit like that,
Hmm.
which infuriates me to no end. uh, but yeah, in my book, I owed the community so much. Like literally, I joined the subculture, quote unquote, back in 2017 through the internet. I met my partner through the subculture, and I feel like I genuinely just became a better person because of all the wonderful people I've met and all the things I've experienced by going to all the events since, and it makes me really, really, really happy. And yeah, I cannot stress enough how big of an impact it all had on me. So yeah, I'm very, very grateful, and I will, especially return the Batcave. I will shill that event
Hmm.
always, 24/7, because Tomasz, the organizer, deserves it. He is putting so much work into it every single year. It's absurd, and makes me really. There's been talks of him retiring and shutting down the
Oh
festival, but
wow!
because he's been doing it for many, many years now. But
He
yeah, it
even
makes me very happy that he's
for
not
this
stepped down
one,
quite yet. Yeah.
for the one last year, he even said, "Yeah, it's probably going to be the last one." So there's a whole history of like Corona interfering with people going to the festival,
Of
and
course,
so he just, as far as I know, but then I'm pretty happy to hear like, oh, there's going to be another one.
great.
Like, yeah, it's a weird feeling, but I really understand like how important it is to him, to Chris, to the whole community.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
It should stay small too, because like making this any bigger creates some loses a lot of the vibes.
Right? Yeah, of course, of course. You don't want to become master, not social.
Funny you mentioned the scale of Mastodon the social, because Chris explained it to me like there's two golf events he mentioned to me. One which is like citywide, it's citywide festival. Uh, I don't even remember the specific vibes associated with it, but just a city vibe, citywide sort of thing. And then this Return to the Batcave, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So the other big festival, which, well, I'm going to again this year. I thought of
Hmm.
going to Castle Party, which is like probably the biggest dark underground, whatever. Well, not under. It's not very really underground, but it's kind of like a dark inclined music
Right. Sure.
festival. It's not very tradition trad goth per se, like Return to the Batcave is. But anyway, the other biggest one, if well, probably the biggest one in the world, is Wave Gothic Treffen in Leipzig. I'm going to be go and I'll end up going there again this year for the third time, and it's literally on the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to like goth events.
Hmm.
As I said, RTB has kind of really much like in this DIY or die hole in the wall kind of feeling where everybody knows everybody, and it's really,
it's
really, really
it's
small.
it's even
And
it. I forgot to mention, but it's in as you said, like the Antifa headquarters of Rokla, or some or the local regional
yeah,
stuff. Chris, right?
yeah, it's a very, very kind of a lefty cultural place, and the basic like Antifa is like the local Antifa is like meetings there and
That
whatnot.
place. when I entered it, it has the most amount of graffiti stickers and other sorts of stuff that I have ever seen. I've made many photos of it, and I
Mm,
think I really like the
mhm,
vibe of just yeah,
mhm,
Yeah,
so
but
much.
yeah, Treffen is like kind of like opposite of that. Basically, it's kind of like the entire city just turns into goth town. No matter where you go in the city, you're gonna meet goths like non-stop. You go to a McDonald's, the people will be dressed in black, and there's gonna be black balloons and stuff
that's
All
really
the
cool.
outcasts turn black.
in there. In Leipzig, basically, as I said, well, the entire city just that's just completely overflowing with people attending the festival.
Mhm.
There's like it's
Merchandise.
just this scope of it is just insane. There's always like tens of thousands of people attending every year. I don't remember how many it attended last year, but it was just a lot. And also last year was like coinciding with the Depeche Mode concert in Leipzig, so there's even more people. The year before that, there was some well, there was like a different like a Leipzig City Festival or something coinciding at the same time. So there's even more people, but not going to the festival. But I digress. Anyway, it's just insanely big. Uh,
Mhm.
on RTDB, you have like 20 bands in a single venue. Spread 20 bands? No, not 20 bands. Like 15 bands, I'd say, spread over 3 nights in a single venue. In Leipzig, it's more like I think 300 bands
Oh God.
in like, and it's like basically it's like in different venues in different clubs throughout the city at the same time. So you have to like pick your battles, like which bands do you want to see. There's like 6 or 7 venues playing every day, basically at like 3 p.m. The concerts start, and then they play until like 10 p.m. And then they in the same clubs, or you have like DJ nights, basically just like doing dance nights until the dawn, pretty much. So you have to like like literally just like plan for the entire day, like which bands do you want to see, where do you want to
Mhm,
go,
mhm.
and then if a band you want to see plays at a different club, then you have to like run out after one gig, go into a tram, find the other tram and whatnot. So it's just so overwhelmingly big, and there's literally like you go into like the Agra, which is like literally just like a giant like market, like in kind of in the middle of nowhere, and in Leipzig. And there's like a trailer park or whatever you want to call it, where like people like set up tents and whatnot, and it's just so insanely big. There's like a marketplace where like people like sell merch and clothing and fashion and crafts, and it's just like giant market halls just absolutely filled with stalls, and there's like again like thousands upon thousands of like people in goth fashion of all flavors. It is insane, and it's a completely different vibe. As I said, it feels bigger. The music is also not as like say trad goth as in RTDB.
Not as good.
RTDB is basically kind of very much in their roots. They play, as I said, post punk of all flavors. They seem to be very heavy on death rock, especially in last year, which not my well. Basically, I like death rock, but basically last year felt like the majority of the bands playing were death rock. I would
Yeah,
prefer that they played dark wave and whatnot, but
yeah,
uh,
I started to get the taste as well, and I was like, I don't want the screamy stuff. Also, one other thing. So when if the bands played at the started at 3, the Batcave they started at like 6 or 8,
yeah,
right? But
yeah,
and
yeah,
they were planned to go until midnight, but of course there were delays and there were sound checks and there was everything. So it often went just to like 2 a.m., 1 a.m.
yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, very in the night, which is very appropriate.
yeah. The in Leipzig, it's like basically it's like it's overwhelming the point where it's like there's always somewhere to go and something to do. It's as I said, after the gigs end, you just pick a club you like the most, and there's a lot of them which are cool. There's Moritz Bastei, which is in like the dungeons of like a giant fortress, and it's literally I buy dungeons. I mean, really, it's there's like in Moritz Bastei you have like free DJ, literally like free DJ like dance halls basically at the same time, and like at the same night like running, and there's like 10 other venues again connected to the event which are doing nights, and there's also venues which just kind of basically just like kind of attach themselves to the event and just do golf nights at the same time. It's so overwhelmingly big. It's just but anyway, it's I like it. I especially love the fact that there's a lot of like bands, kind of like especially the ones which don't seem to like to play in Europe that frequently end up playing
Mhm.
at Treffen. I do like that. Even if I do have to pick my battles sometimes, just because just some concerts just kind of playing, different places at the same time. It's a completely different vibe, and in my personal experience, I really prefer the smaller, kind of closely knit vibe that RTB has, especially since how personally attached to the community I feel. I really like that kind of stuff, and I feel like the next closest. It's one thing that makes me really happy is that there's a lot more events kind of like in my area in southern Poland, like appealing left and right, basically like golf nights, like general like post punk, cold wave, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm. Mhm.
DJ sets in Krakow, especially. I swear to God, there's like one literally every week, which makes or every other week, which makes me really really happy, because I was worried that after COVID, the community just had kind of died out.
Right, of course.
But yeah, it makes me even in my own city. There's a local band, a local cold wave band called Ksy, which I really really cannot recommend enough. And there's a new venue which is like a music oriented lefty venue that's really good, like very not far from me, and they did like kind of like again post punky kind of concert night, and it made me extremely happy that I could go to an event without having to worry about going to a different city or something by train or bus. So yeah, it makes me really really happy that these kind of local small events are popping up, because again, I was worried that in the case if RTTB ever dies out, because for whatever reason, basically if Tomasz doesn't just shuts it down and doesn't have a successor, I was worried that there would be literally like nowhere else to go in Poland, like at least in my part of Poland, to live events. But it seems like less of a risk recently. It seems like people are working in that, and me and my partner are actually thinking of setting up our own golf night and
Oh
and
my
and,
god, that's
and
so
Oh,
Katowice
cool.
at some point. Yeah, we don't know how that will go. We need to see if any of the venues here will allow us to do that. They might, seeing especially how many people were attended that event in Katowice recently. But yeah, fingers crossed.
That's lovely, guys. I'm really glad
I
that you got to experience all that.
You will too. You're coming to Wrocław, whether you like it or not.
just kidnap me, yes, and
Yeah,
send a man in black to kidnap me and take me over there. Okay, sure, sure, sure. If you can afford to do that, then I will be happy to be kidnapped. I'm sure, Chris.
I did not
I
hear
will.
that you were actually playing your own golf night. Like, wow.
That's really cool for sure.
Well, yeah, it's in planning is the key word here, because
Hey,
again, we kind of have.
everything needs a plan, Chris. Everything needs a plan.
Yeah, I mean, all we need to just set up like a DJ night, like they do in Krakow in these clubs. Like every night, I just need a laptop and some MP3 files, and that's it. And
Flat file.
the higher hurdle is getting the venue to agree to that, which we'll see how that will go. Fingers
Actually, Chris, you should be using FLAC files for the.
I would. I very would.
Yeah, Chris is just incredibly heavy into the golf. Like just for comparison, he has talked to me. He has given me a lot of music to listen to, a lot more that I want to listen to, but to list. And it has resulted in me actually having a playlist I listen to fairly regularly, which just
Oh,
has some of
cool.
the golf music I personally kind of like. I should really expand it, but at the same time, I'm just like, this is so count. That's me with most music. Just be like, oh yeah, now it's stuck in my head. You go into my library now.
Forever and ever and
Ever.
ever. That's wonderful to hear. That's great, guys.
Yeah. Still haven't opened the other Pandora's box, which is
Oh no.
the general vaporwave music umbrella, which is my second biggest obsession. But that's
I do. Vaporwave is good stuff. Chris has sent me a playlist of vaporwave music, and a few of them are still in my rotation. I love the
George
Duke.
Clanton.
George Clanton, love that guy. Love that guy. He's absolutely incredible. George Clanton, I feel like makes music for millennials.
What's that supposed to mean?
I don't know what it just feels like. George Clanton understands like the
The
essence,
essence of
like the
millennials.
essence. Yeah. He just like it's like
What?
the music feels like it is like it is like steeped in that kind of pre-digital. Like I don't know how to explain it. It just feels like it just comes to me. It feels like yeah, this music is made for someone with £50,000 in student debt. You know what I'm saying? That's why it feels like George Clanton understands that kind of like proto nostalgia mixed with like the kind of decaying state of neoliberalism in a way. Like I feel like I feel like his music is designed for someone who was kind of raised in that neoliberal
Now I
propaganda
need to
sphere,
now I need to hear
uh,
this.
the good growth period of neoliberalism, right? Where everyone's like,
Well,
you'll go on forever, and then obviously it crashed. And
not
Joe
to
kind of
sound
feels like
annoying, but that could be very much extended to the entire genre.
it's true. I mean, vaporwave, you can always argue is a pushback against.
It lives basically like hypnagogia, like basically hypnagogia, whatever you say that
Didn't
is
Chris?
very much like is just yeah.
Didn't you say like okay? You in the same post you said like that gothic stuff is about finding beauty in darkness. You said synthwave was
Vaporwave, yeah.
vaporwave. Oh,
Yes.
vaporwave is about finding darkness in beauty.
Yes.
Yes, I
I've especially this doesn't again emotions and basically like kind of like the emotional output of music is extremely personal, and I rarely delve into this, and I end up focusing on the technicalities of what the music sounds like from a technical from yeah, again from a
Hmm.
musical standpoint rather than from like a emotional standpoint, whatever it's supposed to represent. But in my personal book, like vaporwave is always, especially the again, not everything, but especially the older stuff, the kind of hard, the kind of classic vaporwave, whatever if you want to call it classic, as in early 2010s to mid 2010s, is kind of very much feels like it's kind of uncovering something that like puts you at like a state of unease from
Yeah,
something that's it's supposed to be very mundane and very kind of easy on the ears.
yeah.
Hmm,
I agree with that. Especially,
interesting.
it's also especially amusing in kind of a dark way to see like things like Fash Wave, for example, or or
Ugh,
um or even most like incredible in the 2019 election campaign
What?
here in the UK. The Boris Johnson,
What?
the Conservatives created a playlist.
No,
Oh right, yeah, playlist
no.
called "Lo-fi hip hop
Shut,
vaporwave beats to get Brexit done
shut up.
to."
Shut
oh
up.
god,
That is not real. Oh my god.
That's
that is
real. It's
that is
totally real.
basically that is so like that is like peak capitalism in the
It's
same
it is
because
taking
it's basically if if like vaporwave has any sort of like ideology against it, is just kind of like uncovering like the basically the rot under the like facade of like
yeah,
like 90s 80s like consumerism and whatnot, and the fact that you have like kind of like right wing like neoliberal kind of movements kind of subsuming like that kind
right.
of thing back into itself is just kind of dystopian.
Just sanitization.
It's kind of yeah, it's sanitization exactly. Yeah, it's like how the Divergent series is to the Hunger Games, and that it takes like the substance, right, the style of the
Oh
original
my god, yes.
work, and but then takes out like the actual meaning and like value of it. So
Of
yeah,
what
like
of Battle Royale.
I was
yeah, yeah,
Oh god, I love that movie so much.
I've started now that you mentioned the Divergent series, I remember reading one of the first novels and being like, oh my god, now I realize that's one of my gender is stupid kind of vibes originates from that whole sorting process at the beginning. Like I was just like, oh wait, that's gender right there. You don't fit in a category. Okay, that's kind of vibes. Okay.
That's so funny. That's
So,
amusing.
but yeah, I stopped reading because for my opinion, it just didn't go anywhere. Like,
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
the protagonist was forced into a category, but then it's just like, okay, and then it's being glossed over. What is happening?
Yep. Yep, exactly. The Divergent series, it just basically takes the look and feel of the Hunger Games and of Battle Royale, of course, as well, and just removes like the socio-political commentary of both Battle Royale and the Hunger Games. I know I talked about this on the episode with Jess, but like I feel like the Hunger Games is one of those sleeper, like I I feel like the Hunger Games is one of those book series that's kind of like a sleeper introduction to like
Anarchism.
political theory, to anarchism, to social political theory in general, because it's a very accessible book series. It has very clear plot points. It has a very clear ideology, and it's told in such a very captivating way. I couldn't imagine that young people who read those series, including me, did not come away with a different perspective on authority.
Not to burst your bubble, but I'm just going to mention one thing. Minecraft Hunger Games.
Yeah.
I think most people were just going to go to that instead of society is. We should improve society somewhat.
We should improve society somewhat. Of course. So speaking of improving society somewhat, we do live in one. Sorry to tell you guys.
Horrible.
Horrible.
Crying emoji.
Yeah, I know. Crying emoji. Yeah. So one thing that has just come out as recent news, like today, is that Blue Sky is currently opening up invitations, and I wanted to get both of your thoughts on that, especially as the three of us are now veterans of many Fediverse experiences.
I've been distancing myself from Blue Sky a lot because, like,
of course,
to be honest, it reminds me too much of Matrix in some kind of ways. Actually, no, it does. No. Okay, I'm just gonna say not because it's a whole different situation.
Sure.
Actually, okay. Anyway, so their whole Federation kind of thing is bogus. Yep. They don't have Fedi drama yet, which means they don't have Federation.
That's true.
If there's drama to be found, then there is some Federation. I'm not accepting any focus on Blue Sky having Federation until I hear that. So no, I'm more or less just like this is just another venture capital social startup. Like a while ago, it was like the message of like, oh yeah, they have 2 developers doing everything, including moderation.
Okay,
and today, that's incredible. Yeah, well, that was a while ago. Maybe they've changed that. But just today, I saw the news on Fedi broken by someone who also in the same breath said, "Oh, why are they doing it now? They promised to do extra moderation stuff later this month."
That's right.
And I'm like,
right, yeah.
Priorities, yes.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it goes without saying that Blue Sky's parent company has received, I think, something like a couple of $100 million in
small loan of $1 million.
Small venture capital fund there, actually, of a couple $100 million, and and of course, Blue Sky is very heavily connected to Jack Dorsey, whose previous social networking site has consistently slid into shit. So I am curious as to see where Blue Sky will go from this, because of course, as you said, they were supposed to step up moderation, and they said they wouldn't open invites until that was fixed. I doubt they fixed it.
AI-based racism filters and
yes, they have an AI-based racism filter, and of course the interesting thing, although the most interesting is not particularly that they've opened up, it's how the community within Blue Sky has reacted. So many people within the service have reacted in a interesting way, in that they're like, "Well, why are you letting all?"
You've actually already seen this today.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
People have people are already reacting within Blue Sky, already reacting to this news. They're saying, "Well, why? Like, why are you letting all of these people come in? Why have you opened up our little playground?" Because of course, the
Oh my
main
god.
draw for anyone on Blue Sky is that it's a closed experience. You know, they may have millions of signups, but it's still a closed invite-only experience. And now the floodgates have opened, and the hordes will come in and ruin their priceless experience. And that is I mean, what were they expecting? Like, Blue Sky was going to open up eventually. Just because it took them a year to do so doesn't mean that it was never going to happen. And so now here we are, where these Blue Sky power users are upset that the normies are going to come in or whatever and ruin their whole thing. You know, if only there was some kind of like federation that they could move to that would let them have some of that exclusivity kind of thing. But I believe that Blue Sky will turn on Federation for the AT protocol later this month, and they'll push out like the developers kits and whatever to make that happen. Whether it'll be successful, I think
it's not in their capitalistic best interest to enable
yeah.
Federation.
I feel like.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go, Chris.
I feel like in general, like, I don't know. I feel like Fedi in general as a concept has kind of revived the kind of like an old web look in my head, like basically like designing everything and how everything should work, and how basically like profit, basically anything like for profit kind of
it's
venture should basically. I've been hoping for like kind of like a non-profit like social media kind of platform for ages now, but just Fedi in general just fits the bill so perfectly.
so
exactly.
on multiple. Sorry, I'm having a thought right now because Chris mentioned like the vibe of Fedi, but right now I'm realizing like how different apart Blue Sky is from Fedi, and I'm going to talk about it because there are multiple points. First of all, Fedi has existed for almost 10 years. In reality, like ActivityPub was an extension of O Status, which was basically started by GNU Social and some other social media. Don't quote me on this because I'm very wrong. But what I do know is that ActivityPub was built with moderation and all other sorts of consent mechanisms in mind. This is one word or term I really like, consent mechanisms, because you don't see it anywhere else almost. And I don't see it in Blue Sky. I don't see it in. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say I don't see it in Matrix. And one of the core people to ActivityPub, I forget her name, but the core team of ActivityPub are just amazing people who really should be known for what they've done, what they've made, and what I want to focus on here. Sorry, I'm all over the place. What I want to focus on here is that they are people who have basically put their experiences into the protocol. Their experiences with being harassed and being abused and all sort of stuff, and just being in sort of social environment of constant mudslinging. Basically, that's my assumption. Like, I'm not talking that they. I'm just going to say I don't really know. I don't know a lot about their actual experiences, but what the vibes are telling me is that they know the states in which they know the things which they want to avoid, basically.
Yep.
Blue Sky is founded upon money. So moderation, Federation, and everything else is just going to be an afterthought. Like, one of the things which already just speaks to me is it's just a flag to me is the fact that blocks are public. I can understand the technical details as to why they should be, but also, sure, why?
Sorry, can you just repeat that?
Blocks are public.
Okay.
Yes.
What is the point?
Yes. Yes.
What?
Yes. That's what I mean. It's just one of those things where it can be like, okay, and I understand the path of development which led to this. I understand the technical structure
The
of this,
technicalities
the
make sense,
technicalities, everything about the system makes sense, but socially,
but on a
it's
social level,
so
it doesn't
much.
make sense.
It's such a big bad idea that why?
Well, I mean, you know what? That's kind of funny because it took them at least, I think, like 3 or 4 months to
Oh
implement a
yeah,
block button in the first place. So it's very clear that moderation was not their thing from
it's
the
not.
outset.
No, this is
Whereas,
not only on moderation. Moderation is an extension of managing social
yeah,
ecosystems. But this is basically just like they started they started introducing like species to the environment of biological environment without any idea of what it would do to the environment.
mhm.
Being like, hey, we're going to introduce this invasive species to farm them with no idea of what it's going to do to the rest of the environment. We're going to make so much money. We don't care about how the environment is going to look like in a few years.
Right,
So
yeah,
basically,
exactly.
that's that kind of vibe, but then make it a social environment of like, yeah, we're just going to do this, and that's it. No thoughts, nothing else.
Yep, exactly. And you got to think of it like this, right? Why was Blue Sky created? It was created by
Money.
Jack Dorsey for what exactly? To it's like it's his creation, right? So it's only he doesn't have any kind of reason to create a new protocol
They,
when he already had Twitter in the first place.
well, he left Twitter, and then he was like, so yeah, it's
Exactly. I mean, Blue Sky will become Blue Sky already is in some senses a kind of corporate social media masquerading as a decentralized one.
no,
And
that's Threads. Threads takes that crown.
oh no, sorry, yes, that's very clearly Freds, but at least they have the gumption to try and federate.
Yeah,
which is a completely different topic of its own,
yeah.
actually.
Sorry. Okay,
Um,
diversion.
but back to Blues. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with both your opinions on that. I mean, the thing is that what will happen is that it will become like Clubhouse. I'm not sure if both of you ever use Clubhouse.
I've
But it was
seen some of it. Like as far as I know, I'm gonna explain what I know of it. It was just some like
sure.
voice chat only, private social media kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So for a long while, Clubhouse was invite only. So you'd have to know someone to get into the app, which obviously made it very exclusive and special, just like Blue Sky. And then a little like then Clubhouse launched an Android app, and with that also opened up completely. And what happened was that the quality of the conversation went down because one, Clubhouse didn't really have enough moderation tools in place, both on a user level, so in terms of like blocking or restricting access to rooms, and also on like a corporate like moderation level. Okay, just like Blue Sky. And what happened to Clubhouse was that it basically became a place where you could find like crypto shills and AI tech bros and all that kind of shit. So imagine like what Twitter Spaces was, but like way worse. And I imagine that this is what the same fate will happen. And of course, no one like uses Clubhouse anymore.
Well,
I'm pretty sure, like, and I imagine this is what Blue Sky will have happen to it with its deluge of users. Because the thing is that because it hasn't had the time to acclimatize to having such a large scope of users, it just will not go anywhere in the same way. Compare that to Facebook, which started out with a very small group of universities in the United States, then a few more universities, then a few more universities, then all universities in the United States, then universities in other countries, then a few more universities in those countries, and then finally open up to the public. Facebook did have that kind of little baby step acceleration kind of curve there, with which balanced the exclusivity of using Facebook with the fact that Facebook wanted to grow. Now, obviously, Facebook is a complete shithole. It sucks for moderation, but they did have a very simple, like very effective way of expanding its user base.
to be honest, one thing. Okay, you
Hmm.
talked about moderation, but I want to just bring in one thing. Like One thing which I really realized when doing part-time moderation when I was working to make the server better, basically, of the tech.lgbt server better. So one of the things, like I'm just gonna give you one statistic of. So around right now we have around 4,000 active users, but we have had only 150 reports in the last month or something. Which is that compared?
That's not.
Yeah, that's not a lot, right? It's kind of management. Is it not a lot?
No, that's not a lot. That doesn't sound like a lot at all.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like that's like, I mean, that's compare that to just active users by itself. That's quite a low number of reports.
So and
I'm pretty sure most of them are for users of other instances, right?
Yeah, I would say around 2/3 is towards is going outside, and 1/3 is just between one of our own users or just something from outside to here. But do you know by perchance the amount of moderators that Mastodon.social has? Not
2.
Really?
I think it's 2. It sounds like I think they did. I don't know.
Full-time moderators?
4, 5.
So yeah, we have a bunch of part-time moderators. So
sure.
Yeah, well, what I'm trying to do here, and I'm actually realizing this is a bad comparison to do with Mastodon, is I'm trying to say like the best moderation is the fact that the community is socially self-sustaining. What do I mean with that? Is basically that the community. Well, this is no, I'm explaining it in a bad way. So when I talked about like the social ecosystem kind of idea, then I'm just gonna add this analogy to here that Fedi, for the most part, has a healthy social ecosystem in the sense that that all the different actors, the different people, the different interpersonal and inter-server conflicts resolve healthily. Like this is going to sound really weird, but I think that the majority of all conflicts which happen on Fedi has resolved more healthily than they could have on any other social platform.
I agree on that. I agree with you 100%. And I think you're absolutely right. And this will sound like a crazy thing to say, but if you compare that to, like, the thing is that Fedi, and this goes back to the fact that Fedi does not have an algorithmic system, right? An algorithm will drive growth, and growth is driven by anger and other negative
That's
emotions.
one of the top engagers, yes.
Yeah. So while you can get angry on Fedi, the only engagement it will get will be relatively natural. It will not kind of be, thrown into the to the top of the charts by some unseen force.
Unless everyone gets angry about it.
Unless everyone gets angry, but even then, that's like the impact is still less than it would be on traditional social media. So I think, in a way, you're right that the de-escalation is easier because there's nothing artificially escalating most of these things, and obviously while things do get shared around or whatever, it's still it's a natural engagement with the topic at hand,
natural engagement,
rather than an artificial one.
Engagement arc, like the arc stops immediately when every single post is out of view for everyone else. The only thing which basically just keeps it for longer is when it's a subject which is on people's minds. Then it's something which the whole network is suddenly talking about. But so
which is kind of what happens, like, in kind of any kind of social marketplace, if you think about it. Consider like politics or in your friend groups or whatever. If there's something that you want to talk about and it kind of needs more time to be expressed on, then you just keep talking about it. And the same is true of Fedi. And if it's something that is talked about for one moment at a time and then is kind of left to disappear, then that's the same on Fedi too.
hmm Well, so the role of moderation on Fetty then more or less doesn't really become like don't do this, or this engagement is bad, or this or that anger is bad or something. Is because most of the interpersonal stuff we get on our plates, we basically just look at the way people are engaging. We don't look at the subject because, like I said, most things resolve in some sort of sense healthily, so we don't really have to get involved. So we do want to
Mhm.
get involved in the way someone talks about someone else and see if we want to make sure that our community isn't exposed to someone like that. Like someone going after someone's gender or race or skin color in an argument is obviously not going to be acceptable in a community like ours. Like, no. But
Exactly. Exactly.
someone having a very heated argument is, it's going to sound weird, but that's fine. Like, because the role of the moderation is not to do whack-a-mole on all of the bad stuff. That will resolve by itself. But what the moderation then can do is reduce the risk or the chance that someone will stumble across something which will, or someone which will engage with them in a bad way. That's why we have the limit function, which is basically just a server-wide mute. Or that's why we
Mhm.
have the suspend function. It's basically cauterizing the wound.
Yeah, and that's perfectly. I think that's perfectly acceptable. Chris, do you have any opinions on that kind of stuff?
I don't know. I've just been kind of sitting here just listening to you two, just enjoying. So I don't know if I have any thoughts.
Well, Chris, let me just ask another question then. How does moderation look like from your end?
Yeah, that's a question I was gonna ask.
Oh,
Like, what you mean, like on tech.lgbt, or like
in
in
general, both.
I'm not sure how to answer that because I don't really understand like the question. If you could
Like, what do
elaborate on
you
that.
notice of moderation? Let me ask you that. Like,
Okay. So you mean like in general, like as a concept?
yeah, on Fetty.
Uh, it seems like it's the definition of a thankless job.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could say that again.
It's even basically like you're constantly putting yourself at odds with people who are, I don't know, are less than inclined to sometimes agree with a different point of view
Hmm.
or like view it at all. If moderation would be all as simple as you're just dealing with people who are just like outright fascist or whatever in like a very like like the people like on the crazy like Fedi parts of Fedi where like are literally just like like far right conspiracy servers or whatever, then that's if it would be just keeping those people out, it would be, I imagine it would be manageable. But imagine it's like I in my head like moderation is always just kind of the hardest part. It seems to be like walking on the edge of what is right and what is wrong, and like what is the best action to take in every
Hmm.
like particular case, especially when like people like two people who basically have a lot in common and agree on something, but have basically like one disagreement or over something that just goes absolutely nuclear for whatever reason. And then handling a situation like that always seems like an enormous task in my head. And I don't know. I've been a mod. I'm a mod. Well, I'm still am, but I don't really go there that much. I'm still have the mod permissions on the like the biggest goth Discord server, where
Oh,
where basically which has been like the main outlet for my for meeting the people in the subculture online, and that's how I met my partner through that server. But yeah, from what it's always kind of it's a stressful job, and I am very not surprised, especially like seeing people who like run a server for some time, for a few like half a year whatever, and then just like burn out completely.
yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
It seems like it's just I feel like it's certainly it takes takes a lot of strength and a lot of energy to do that. And especially I'm in awe of all the people who undertake that task, and that's
Definitely, I
including
agree.
you, Joe.
Well,
I agree.
I'm just gonna say, like, I had a thought in my head, but yeah. So I can couple that with my opinion of how Discord social works, but at the same time, I want to say that I say that we don't really experience much of that because, like, most what you say, Discord moderation, which is mostly just about like resolving or putting the hammer down on interpersonal conflicts of like or like pausing them or stopping them is that's what I imagine, but that's what my experience has been, and that's what I'm manufacturing this also is. But Fetty, 90% of it is already resolved by the ecosystem I talked about, like the ecosystem of people blocking or muting each other and then just getting out of each other's eyes. Like, large part of it is already handled, but yeah, the parts where we are involved as moderators or as people in those interpersonal conflicts, and it's the best thing I could relate to it is when the drama or when the conflict goes onto a server level. And you two probably already really know what I'm going to talk about or what I'm referring to is the whole. Yeah, I don't think I really want to talk about it. It's been a while, but
Sure.
it's been very exhausting. Let me just say, it's the whole the bad space situation. All of the fallout that happens from there, the inter server distancing and hot shot stuff, the endless escalation. It really got on our nerves, and that basically was one of the biggest moderation events we've had. Well, in the last few months, but at the beginning of the year when the Twitter migration stuff was still happening and Fetty was more under pressure, we had a few other server things happening. But yeah, what that's basically the equivalent of dealing with interpersonal situations. It's basically the equivalent of like needing to make that leads very well into my next topic. Needing to make decisions for like 4K people, not with no chance of knowing all of them, but still needing to set like a line where you stand behind everyone and then going ahead with it. Because in my opinion, tech.lgbt is not meant to be everyone's server. I understand that there's a lot of people who would rather want to have their own opinions, their own blocks, their own relationships, not being quote unquote tainted or managed by the moderation system. Just completely understandable. But at the same time, I think like we are. At the same time, I feel like the role we play, the role tech.lgbt plays in the Fediverse is a landing pad server. We get a lot of signups. But at the same time, I know that there is like a growing social sphere around tech.lgbt of ex-tech.lgbt users who started on that server. I know a lot of them who started on that server and then just basically migrated somewhere else and just became more and more queer. Like some of these people, one in particular I know who was like, I would almost say very milquetoast queer. Very just yes, I'm gay and I don't know my gender, which is a vibe. But then just grew and grew and grew over the years into what I would say very queer, very gender non-conforming, very gender fuck, and in general just yeah, yeah. Yeah, there isn't even words to describe it. It's like describing an eldritch entity of what kind of vibe they eventually turned into. Like that's the kind of thing which I really, which I think the server is. The server is a safe space. I'm just gonna say it outright. Tech.lgbt is meant to be a safe space of anyone entering the Fediverse and wanting to not like think It's one of those things of like needing stability in some kind of sense. You're in a new city. You want to meet a lot of people, start a social network, but at the same time, you don't really want to be assaulted by quote unquote crime or bad people or some sort of
Sure.
stuff. So what I see the server is just like you enter the Fediverse, you make a network of of a lot of local people, of a lot of people those people are replying to, and suddenly you have a network and you have a sense of direction, and you're like, oh, okay, I think that I don't agree with this moderation thingy, or I think I want to go this way, or I want to go that way. I want to go to George.horse. I want to go to transfam.social. I want to go to Froggy Town or some other server, and then they can just go. Like it's a very weird thing to say, but I think the best thing that could happen to our users is that they decide to migrate. This sounds very bad in the same sense of like, oh yeah, we don't want users anymore. No. It's more.
I think that's the beauty of it in a way, right?
Yeah,
like there's no incentive for you to keep. I mean, there's no incentive, but it's like there's no need for you to keep users, right?
Oh.
It's like you're like the commercial social media platforms. They need users. They require them to exist, right? But tech.lgbt will exist no matter if there's one user or 100 or 4,000. So if users leave tech.lgbt and go somewhere else, well, that's fine. They can do that. They have the choice to do that, and it doesn't actually affect tech.lgbt at all. If anything,
in some sense, like I'm very happy that users do find their own sense of direction of going away from tech.lgbt, because I'm still worried that our server is like some kind of huge boss factor in some sort of sense. Like, okay, it's the home of a lot of users, but at the same time, please just don't make this the only home you've ever known, sort of kind of vibe.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know, it's a very weird feeling, but at the same time, landing pad, that's the vibe which I feel of the server. I'm very happy to be able to give a lot of people the chance to come onto Fedi and then just grow and go somewhere and live. But at the same time, I don't want to make it sound like, oh yeah, we don't want users anymore. No, we. My words could be twisted very easily here. Yeah.
Oh god, that's wonderful. Thank you very much for that, Joe.
Yeah.
So
Folks, give me 2 minutes. I'm gonna piss my pants if I don't.
Oh
go
my
to the
god!
bathroom in a second.
Yes, of course. Don't worry. I can edit this part out. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Please let us know when you come back.
Okay, I'll let you know when I pissed my pants. Be right back.
Okay.
George.
That's fine. I'll take this moment to reorganize my notes.
Wait, is there even a pistol TLD?
Is there .piss TLD?
No, is there?
Is there? I mean, there's a dot sucks, right? There's a dot sucks, so we could totally have a .piss TLD.
Handshake. Oh wait, no, it's. Huh? What the fuck? What is this?
Is it real?
No, it's not.
Is it
but
real?
This is.
No. What are you looking at?
I am not sure. What the fuck is this? I am copying.
You have to tell.
I'm
you
copying
gotta show me. Oh, did you send it to me on Discord?
I sent it to you on Discord. But I'm so confused. Okay. What is this?
Oh my god. Okay. So Joe has just sent me a link to wiki.letspiss.net/wiki/domains. It's cool. And I'm going to click this link, so I'm going to see what's up. Domains. Oh, okay. Oh, right. Okay. So this is the wiki page for letspiss.net, and for some reason it has a article about how to get a domain. Domains allow you to manage DNS record for public domains. Then asking you to get subdomain, asking a domain owner,
they
creating
even have
a domain.
root name servers. Basically, oh my god. Oh, I did not expect to find this.
And then there are examples of domains, including piss.social, piss.network, piss.net.ar. This and one of them is called. Wait, there is a .piss TLD. What the fuck? Is
Yeah,
there?
that's
No,
what I was searching for, but apparently someone has made a joke DNS
Okay, I'm back.
thingy. Hey,
Oh, it's a
friends,
joke,
we're
DNS.
looking at
Hey,
.piss TLDs. We're looking at piss domains.
should I?
I'm gonna send the link to you
Should
as
I?
well.
I'm gonna keep this in the episode. I'm gonna keep this in the episode. Anyway, back to the show at hand. Thank you very much for that, Joe. If I do decide to keep this bit in the episode, the domain is the link is wiki.letspiss.net. If you want to look at whatever the hell that is. Anyway, back to the regularly scheduled show. So the thing I want to talk to you guys about is about this recent wave of redundancies, layoffs, what you want to call them, at tech companies. So very recently, Snapchat and Discord culled a bunch of their workforce, and most infamously, Intel took a huge bunch of their workforce out of circulation, despite the fact that Intel is currently receiving hundreds, if not billions of dollars in state subsidies to build chip plants in the United States. How crazy is that? You take the money from the government and decide to flush a huge chunk of your workforce out. So my understanding, of course, from all of this is that most of these are exercises to appease investors and stockholders. In that, by doing so, it shows that these companies are exercising great financial restraint, and therefore the funny money line goes up. In the case of closed companies like Discord, which aren't publicly listed yet,
Really? Huh.
yeah, Discord has not had an IPO yet. It has been
Wow.
gearing up for one. Yeah. Discord has been gearing up for an IPO since I believe the spring. They just haven't done it yet, primarily because the economic situation with the market.
The certification levels haven't reached their targets yet.
Exactly. Yeah. So with Discord being a closed company, it's a slightly different story there because Discord only has its internal investors to appease. There's really no reason for it to do big fat layoffs, right? Because there's no line to go up, which is a sign of Discord's financial stress at the moment. If they need to cut workers, it is because they need to. Well, need is a quote unquote there, but they have a financial reason to do so, which is that they are slowly running out of money. So in that sense, I imagine that Discord will try and either continue the end certification to save on money, and also probably continue culling its workforce in the hopes that it will do an IPO, and then hopefully that will give it a huge chunk of change to do stuff with. But that's kind of stretching the point a little bit. I want to get kind of both your takes on where you think the tech industry is heading, on the back of all these things happening, especially of course with AI and all that kind of bullshit.
Chris, you first.
Chris, if you want to go first.
I have some thoughts, but I'm really curious what you have to think.
Yeah, so I think we actually didn't we discuss this like during the first episode, like when we recorded.
Yeah, that's
That
true.
reminds
I think
me
so.
because
But I think back then it wasn't like as a severe thing. It was just like a little thing that happened.
oh yeah,
But now
I
it's
don't know,
big because I
man.
think this is the biggest wave since like all of history, I guess.
It's like it's worrying. I guess that if my first gut feeling is that if we didn't need to have UBI before, we need to have UBI now. That's my main takeaway from all this.
Mhm. Yeah. No, I definitely agree on that front. I mean, because if you're if all tech companies are kind of cutting their workforce, then finding a new job in the same industry is going to be pretty difficult.
Yeah, I mean,
Unless,
it's either change industry or find your own company. Like, just create your own company.
yeah, of course, and that's totally easy to do in today's economic climate, isn't
Oh
it?
yes.
So
Joe, what's your
well,
take on this?
I have like the the the, what those companies basically have just proven to themselves is a few things.
Mm,
Proven to the world is a few things. First of all, they've proven that they are completely blinded by greed. First of all,
mm,
and at the same time, because of that, they've lost the proper emotional pulse of the workforce, or they are carefully calculated, which is the worst, the more worse outcome.
sure.
What I mean with this is that the stories I've read, which outline the whole emotional structure of the result of all of this, is that the people who go away, you talked about going to another company or like starting your own company or just not exiting the industry. I don't really have any thoughts on that because my brain doesn't really. I don't have really a good idea of how the labor force, the incoming labor, works with the tech industry. Not as much,
Yeah, sure.
but I do know how it's going to affect the culture of the companies, which is in some of most of the stories. They basically said that so the people who are going away after you've seen a layoff, are you going to be working at the same company with the same passion that you've had before?
Sure.
So suddenly you get what your money's worth and nothing more. Those companies have basically had a lot of freebies off of the extra effort the employees have been putting in.
Mm,
Right now, they're basically just pushing the remaining employees into a depression, which is also already going to lower the quality of the software a lot
mm,
of the existing stuff, and it's also going to influence the opinion or the public image of the company itself. So what they're just doing is, I'm just gonna just a small warning. I'm just gonna talk about a little bit of body horror. So maybe skip the next few minutes if you're not really into that. But imagine someone cutting off a part of their body, cutting off a flesh part of their body to for profit or for value, basically. But then, as a
mm,
consequence, they have infected the rest of their body and are now slowly turning into a husk, just like
mm.
one of those those skin draped over bones kind of husks. That's what
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
all of those companies are basically doing to themselves, very slowly, because they are blinded by greed, because they want to um well yeah
Appease the line.
well that's the second thing which I'm going to talk about, which is the whole public, which is the whole shareholder thing. um
Mm,
I'm just going to insert an anecdote actually to make this more poignant. I'm doing my internship in a few days. I'm going to start a new internship at a company
Oh wow.
in a few days.
Oh,
Yeah, for
wow.
school. So, but what I didn't realize, like, okay, I did this internship almost exactly a year ago, a year and a half ago, at the same company for a different project. But I was able to ring someone I knew and was like, oh wait, I do an internship with you because stuff, and then they put me into a presentation, a meeting, and we're like, we have a lot of projects for you, and I could just choose one. It was very interesting experience. But later on, I talked with my mom about that company, and she was like, yeah, that company has a very good vibe click with you. Well, she didn't say this literally, but I'm paraphrasing. Imagine your mom just saying, hey, this company has a good vibe. Anyway, the company is not it's not a corporation. It's a cooperation. It's
Right.
yeah, it's a cooperation between all of the educational institutions in the Netherlands. This is already going to narrow it down, but basically the big difference that means that they are not they are shareholders technically, but they are not trying to appease all of their products to a market in the hopes that they will buy it. They are focusing all of their efforts to bettering the service they are providing all of those educational institutes.
Right.
And then my mom also told another anecdote about my dad, who was like, "Yeah, something weird happens with companies when they go when they do their public offering." And I'm just like, yes, that's what shareholders do. They basically just bombard the company with one incentive, which is profits. And then they make everyone outside of their own circle completely irrelevant to that fact. If you look at it from an intelligence sort of perspective of like an intelligent agent, it makes basically the company a parasite to the rest of the society, because it's the only intention it would ever have for anything, the company itself, not the people inside of it. The people inside of it could still turn it genuine, but the core incentive any company to that degree would ever have is profit. And this is not because we live in a society where you need money to survive. When a company does just need the money to survive, like non-profits and corporations, but still has other incentives, then those other incentives will bubble up in all sorts of complex ways. But when it's just a profit company for profit, then it will never be able to do to have any other incentive than be it for money.
Yep. Exactly.
When people so to link that to the layoffs, with what I said earlier, when people insert their own incentives into the company, like having a product do good for the world because someone in the company thought it was nice to do that, and coincidentally it made the company money. By the way, this is how most of like those good products where people ideologically agree with when they come out, but later on they just acidify more and more because the company just was just like, hey, so someone brings out a product and it's like, this is going to make the world better, and they genuinely believe that, and the incentives is genuinely there, but they have to make a deal with the devil, with the company, basically just to bring it out. But then the company can just remove that person, put someone else on it, like a bean counter, and just squeeze all of the money out of whatever money that project could have had out of that project, and then they can just throw it away. And you can then say hello to Google.
yeah, you're exactly right. It's a fascinating way to think about it.
Yeah, so just to put a pin in it. So what these layoffs are going to do with everything I've said, those layoffs are going to demotivate the existing people of the company.
Yep.
And they are going to, and that is going to make sure that whatever next is coming out of that company with that culture is not going to be anything but the intent to make money. Yeah. And you mentioned AI, and I think that's also a beautiful segue into saying that those hype cycles, I can talk endlessly behind how the mechanical psychological stuff works with the investors, but I'm just going to say, like, this is how you get metaverse, like metaverse. This is how you get LLMs just appearing everywhere, crypto appearing everywhere. And what was the other hype a few years ago?
Blockchain?
Yes, blockchain appearing everywhere. Because people think this is going to make money. That's a social mechanism of like, oh, everyone agreeing with each other, emphasizing the agreement itself, but then they're blind to it until they see the red symbols in their balance sheet, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and
burning everything in the process.
It's actually funny you mentioned the red stuff because I believe like the AI push in many of these companies is actually costing them like a
Yep.
huge deal of money. Intel actually released their earnings fairly recently, a couple of weeks back, and for them they actually lost hugely on AI. So the AI team was the one that lost loads of cash, but the other teams were the ones that had their workers
Slash.
given the guillotine. Like that doesn't make sense. I mean, obviously, no worker should be fired in that sense. But like, it surely would make more sense to cut the AI team rather than every other team that was profitable for Intel. And like you said, it is an ideology that
Self
they've bought into
cannibalism.
onto this. It's cannibalism.
No, self
It's
cannibalism.
auto cannibalism. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like these companies are bought into the AI hype so much that they're not going to let anything go now because they know that because it's new and shiny and because it would revolutionize some bullshit or whatever, they'll sink their teeth into it, keep funding it into throwing money to the black hole because it makes that funny line on the graph go up. That's basically it, and it's really kind of a waste of money. Like what? We're gonna get AI.
I'll be pairing two things together. A while ago, I was looking for answers on
Sure.
Google multiple times. Every time Quora came up, you know
Oh
Quora,
God.
right?
Oh God. Yeah.
Yes. So every time Quora came up, and Quora recently did their own AI thing, where the moment the page loads, an AI will try to summarize the all of the answers in it. You would see the words appear in the same way it would for OpenAI. So basically, the
Right. Right.
moment a page loads, an AI somewhere will do their thing. So, and then combined with that, last semester I was talking to some teacher about the whole AI stuff, and they shared with me, did you know that for one of those answers, you're basically taking the energy that basically costs the energy equivalent of charging a phone completely. One of those answers is a whole phone charge worth.
And that's incredible. That's at least a few watt hours of
Yep.
charge there.
Yep. Of
Um,
just energy, and I'm just like, why?
and you multiply that by however many answers and questions on Quora, and then multiply that by just how many quote unquote AI LLM systems are embedded in everything. I mean, fucking hell, even your local dealership has Chat GPT answer the questions for you. Why? Like that just needs an FAQ, man. It's not like and I think and the thing with this is that it's not even that great. Like so for those of you who have been following me for a while, you know that I've been using whisper.ccp not ccp whisper.cpp to help me transcribe the podcast. Essentially it helps me edit them a lot quicker because I can read along with the spoken words, and it just makes it easier for me to edit chunks of text at a time. Anyway, so the good news is that one thing is that Whisper CPP works offline on my computer. So I'm not using someone's computer to do that. I'm using my own. And obviously it's a useful tool, right? Like it's not like I'm generating extra content for the podcast that doesn't exist. It is to help me out. Now that works like 60% of the time, I would say. It does a great job of transcribing 6% of the time. And to me, that's good enough because it means I can edit an episode in an evening, really, when usually it would take me about 3 evenings. And this is why the episodes are getting slightly longer each time. But a few times it will just hallucinate shit that just never appears in the episode at all. It will repeat random words over and over and over in the transcript. It will sometimes even assume that there are words in the transcript that are in a different language, even though I've explicitly said it to render output in English. And This is something that's just running on my computer, like, off my GPU as a thing to help me out. Imagine that kind of inaccuracy, but multiply that by however many requests are made to things like Bard and Copilot and so on and so forth. And that's just a lot of hallucination, a lot of misinformation, and a lot of crap that's out there. I know what I'm seeing in a transcript isn't real. And so to me, it doesn't make much of a difference if it's wrong or not, because the majority of it is going to be correct. And the bits I know aren't correct, well, I can see, I know the difference. But what if you don't have the critical thinking skills to actually see through the hallucinations and the bullshit, you know? And to think and to think these companies are investing billions upon billions and billions into things that don't work most of the, like, a good proportion of the time.
Or using it for things which it was never supposed to be used for.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. If you made any other kind of product that had a failure rate as high as some of these LLMs, it would never go on sale. Would you buy a car that breaks down 40% of the time?
Even
Yes,
90% of the time.
if you're a Tesla, if even 90%. I mean, if you're a Tesla owner, you're probably used to your car breaking down all the time. But but for everyone else, would you buy a car that broke down 90% of the time? No, sorry, 10% of the time? No way. This isn't a Boeing 737 Max. This thing is fucked. It's broken. They spent all this money and it just doesn't work. And it's like,
There's only a few things which, in my opinion, LLMs could be used for. And first of all, it's to use that hallucination function, or, well, that basically feature/bug, to make fictional stuff. There are three things you could do basically with an AI of this kind. First one is reduction. The second one is interpolation, and the last one is extrapolation. Basically, what I want to say with that is basically extrapolation is where things go the most bad, where you take a little bit of information and ask the AI to make a lot of information from it, like
right.
take a few words and make a lot of text from it. That has a lot of chances for hallucination, and and is also the primary vector for that hallucinations to go wrong, because you're asking the AI for, hey, can you describe this fact? And then it will not search for the fact itself. It will just basically think, okay, I think that you mean this. I'm going to predict that you mean this, but I'm not really like grabbing a lot of information from what you said. The second one is interpolation, where you take a amount of data and ask the same amount of data. Basically, say, hey, can you take this text and turn it into second person? Something as simple as that. And in my opinion, that's a situation where, unless you ask the AI to bring in extra information, like extra facts, there's not a lot of chance of things going wrong. Then the last one, which is reduction, which is basically just be like, hey, can you summarize this text? In my opinion, the thing where AIs like this could be most useful for. Think of something like, hey, can you summarize this entire 3-hour long discussion people were having in my Discord chat of like 15,000 messages or something, 1,500 messages. And it would actually be, my intuition tells me it would be good at that. And that's where this should be used for. But it's not. It's being used primarily for extrapolation. And
right.
People mistake the fact that it's very good at predicting what you want to hear from the fact that it's actually doing some intelligent thing.
Yeah, mistaking the probabilistic nature of AI with the semantic nature of human beings.
Yeah.
Humans think.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, Chris, go ahead.
I'm not even sure if that interpolation thing would work, because I don't know. Again, I don't know the technicalities behind it, but fandom has been
Cringe.
doing like that kind of a thing.
Really?
Like half a year ago. Basically, what they would do. One of the main was one of the main reasons why so many people moved away from fandom to their either other wiki farms or their own self-hosted wikis was because they very aggressively pushed a feature into every wiki, which would basically compress an entire article into kind of like a trivia kind of blurb, kind of a thing that they would kind of constantly display on the side of the wiki, like basically, yeah. And it was broadly inaccurate, and it like
Really?
glossed over like important
Huh.
facts, and
Huh.
it was a bit of a disaster. So
Interesting.
I'm not sure about that. I mean, I imagine maybe it's just again technicalities. Maybe it would be kind of like
It meets
a different AI
does
agent behind it would make it work better, but still, like
yeah. Did it still list some facts, but did it not list the important ones? Like, did it still grab the?
no, it's like straight up just like fed misinformation
It's basically
sometimes.
hallucinates.
Yes.
Still,
Hallucinated. Oh god, that's so funny.
what? Oh,
I
okay.
think
Huh.
I think it's kind of interesting because, like, even in this own discussion, we're using words like hallucinate and think and so on, and obviously that's just a way for us to understand what's happening here. Because the AI isn't really hallucinating in the same way that you and I would
Yeah.
hallucinate, but it's a very easy way to describe what's happening. And I think that's kind of
Yeah.
what this whole thing is as a whole. It's like people are mistaking the the way that these AIs function and ascribing a kind of human. I mean, humans do all the time to objects, right? People will talk to their fucking Roombas if
Something. Antro something.
and for anthropomorphization.
Yes.
Yeah, people will talk to their Roombas, if it's just them and the robot alone. So what and so what kind of level of anthropomorphization is a text bot that that writes things realistically, and one of the other things actually I do want to touch upon that you just reminded me on is that these AI are also being used in plagiarism checkers. So obviously, both of you went to university. My university used Turnitin.
I went
don't
to
know if your
college. I
guys.
didn't go to university. I had
Oh, you
one
didn't go to
semester
university.
at the university, and then I failed almost all of the exams.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
It was a minor.
Right, well,
it was a minor, so it was fine. But I can't do exams.
So most universities will have a plagiarism checker. So once you upload your document to their like a portal, essentially, it will a plagiarism checker. My university uses Turnitin. There's other options out there. Turnitin is the biggest one. The plagiarism checker will basically compare your essay with all of the scholarly works it has in its data banks, but also other students' works in general, right? So generally, my university had a policy of if your essay had 40% or more plagiarism score, then it will be looked over a bit more. Someone would look over it a little bit more. But if it had scored like 39% or below, then it didn't really matter. The reason why is because Turnitin will essentially pick you up for like weird errors, right? So, for example, many times I would get the terms independent variable and dependent variable marked as plagiarism. Occasionally, the word "the" would appear, and in one time, my own name came up as a plagiarism check. So yeah, you can see that these are very, very inaccurate. That's why most universities will kind of use them as a kind of guide as opposed to a hard and fast thing. However,
First line.
however, with the introduction of AI into some of these plagiarism checkers that universities are using, they see them as a little more like gospel rather than a guideline. And that to me is worrying because
Is there not even like a manual review option to button to click?
no.
Oh,
No. I mean, the thing is that essentially what it is that plagiarism checkers have this AI tool kind of bolted on to the existing settlement kind of thing, right? So there really is kind of no way for a student to be like, well, the AI is fucked, right? The universities are kind of taking these AI tools as more accurate than the old style way of doing it, because the AI tools, so check for grammar, spelling, structure, rather than the kind of brute force method that Tendon uses, which is just to compare and contrast. Now, the thing that I want to mention about academic essays is that they are all written in pretty much the same way. And not only that, but as you read more and more academic work, you start to pick up terms and stylistic choices and phrasing that other academics use and put that into your own work. So what you get is that these plagiarism AI will then think that you're doing plagiarism because you sound like an academic, or you sound like similar to other people in that kind of field. And it's like, well, there's only a handful of ways that you can express an idea. There's only a handful of ways you can express an idea in an academic format, in that kind of in a very dry, structured format that academic essays and articles are written in. And not to mention that academic writing is useful for people who speak English as a second language, because it has a very clear way of expressing certain concepts and ideas, right? So an article, a journalist article written about psychology will have even though the topics are different to something in physics, the structure, the design, the
Everyone
way that
uses
people
latex.
yeah. yeah, I suppose in a sense, I mean, I didn't have to use latex. I just used Word. But the structured design of the language, so to speak, not the actual document, but the structured design, the composition of phrasing in academic writing, no matter the subject, is is going to be broadly similar. And that's even more critical when you consider that all students at a given university will learn the same way of academic writing from their university. So now we have these AI plagiarism checkers that really aren't checking for plagiarism. They're just checking to see how well you write academically, which isn't a sign of plagiarism. That's just a sign of how like going to university works. And I think, to me, that is like the most kind of awful way of using AI, in that we already know that they hallucinate. We already know that they can be wrong. And yet, the education, and yet, the kind of executive boards of these universities are using them as a kind of be-all tool to check for plagiarism. The old plagiarism checking stuff was broken, right? But the thing is that,
to me, okay, can I just interject
go
with
ahead.
like a few
Of
thoughts?
course.
Because already
Of
to
course.
me this sounds. I also want to refer to previous conversation and say that, Kris, I thought that that MMLs like this would be best at reduction, but apparently either. Yeah, I'm just going to say like, what sounds here is that what it sounds like is that here at the university, it's a quote unquote unfortunate side effect of how the AI works. But I know for a fact that AI shouldn't have to work like this. Like this MML sorts of stuff can be trained differently. So what it just sounds like to me is that they just took an existing model, which was trained for more general ways of similarities.
Yeah.
And they what they really could do and should do is just make a model specific for academic papers and have the whole thing of, are these two similar documents, yes and no questions, make it trained on that, and then it would work better. But they don't.
Mm-hmm.
They just take the OpenAI ChatGPT 69 version 69 or something, and then just slap it on and be like, yeah, this is cheap. It's not, but
Yeah, it's all
Of course,
about
of
the
course.
money, as usual.
It's all about the money. And the thing is, really, the best plagiarism checker, with or without AI, is going to be another academic.
Yeah.
Like, and a good academic, any university, a lecturer, teacher, professor, whatever, someone with the experience of that field will know what a student essay looks like, right? And they will also be able to pick up the difference between, hey, this guy copy and pasted this shit, or this guy suddenly changed their like tone of speaking halfway through. Because the thing is with student essays is that while obviously they follow academic structures and kind of whatever, they are very clearly written in a student essay kind of way. You know, like how student films look very different to professional short films. Okay, so the best tool to check for plagiarism is another person, and that's the thing, is that this is another one of those kind of things where people are using AI to replace the human element of these roles without actually thinking, why do we have humans do this work? It's because they are actually better at it than an AI could ever could do.
Every single MML language learning model, LLMs, that have ever existed needed a small amount of humans.
Yep.
In any kind of way, which means either just outside of the Anglosphere low cost labor, or other. Every single one of them needed humans to do some kind of review work, and then
Yeah.
extrapolate that kind of review onto a large body of work, which there has not been a single AI, in my opinion, anywhere which really just bootstrapped its own intelligence from itself.
Mhm.
There is one sort of AI which I'm working with some people who might be able to do this, but even then in a limited sense, because it's a genuinely new approach, sort of.
Sure.
But at the moment, it's just like, yeah, it's just an extrapolation, a lossy extrapolation of a lot of other stuff. And what you talked about, so what you're getting at, like the faculty thinking the AI is replacement for humans, when all it really should be is just an advanced filter to flag
Yep.
possible plagiarism for humans. And even then, they could just implement a positive feedback loop of like, oh wait, this thing you flagged, it's actually not plagiarism, or this thing you didn't flag is actually plagiarism, and then you could train the AI from that, and it could get better through regular human training. But they don't do that. They see it as that because of the social problem of it appearing to be, it's the dual fault social problem of A, appearing to be like a human, and B, somewhat unconsciously them seeing it as low cost labor.
Yep, exactly.
Seeing AI into this kind of weird twilight zone of this is kind of human, but also not. That unfortunately reminds me so much of slavery in a lot of cases, or low cost labor. Like, no, seriously, it reminds me of the same
I agree.
mental place, the same mental box that people used to put those in, and still do. But yeah, and it's just, you're not thinking clearly. You're not even thinking about the AI. You just think, oh, it's useful, but also not. Sorry. Yeah.
No, I agree. Anyway, guys, do you want to move on to the questions from the audience?
Oh, sure.
Great. This is going to be the fun part.
It has already been 2 hours. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh god. We'll do this we'll do this relatively quickly. So the first question is from Experiences International, which is Experiencer at Lethal Lava Land. When are you denying the time travel rumors? I think that's at me. When is the press release? Oh right, yes. Yeah, I am denying the time travel rumors yesterday.
I'm denying them tomorrow. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Kris, are you denying them too?
Yeah, it might be take a few weeks for me, but yes, as well.
Okay, cool. The next question is from Kuriko, who is Kuriko at tech.lgbt. Which country has the best convenience store food? This is an excuse for Kris to talk about Zagpa, and for me to talk about Greg's, and for Joe to talk about whatever
Placeholder
Dutch version
_
of
NL
those.
convenience store food.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm gonna say Żabka is not that like good. It's just ever present. That's the thing. It just has a
frog
it's
store
consistently
set of
it's consistently mediocre.
Yeah, and it's ever present. Like we are becoming a frog dictatorship very quickly. Like there's a Żabka opening in every single corner. Within like, I'm not even kidding. Within like half a kilometer of where I live, there's like 8 Żabkas, I think, at this moment.
The frog.
This
wow.
it's the basically it's everywhere.
When
Zabka is like it. Looking at it like rationally,
I
it's not like there's
when I was
selection.
in Poland, I couldn't help but make jokes about how many Zapkas there were. I don't know
That's
if
incredible.
anyone here has observed me while I was in Poland that I've made so many jokes. It's honestly
Yeah, I
It's
ridiculous.
it's interesting to think about that because obviously Greg's is a completely different experience to Zabka, in that Greg's is relatively inexpensive and relatively good tasting. Now, in my case, there's a Greg's near my house, and it's a Greg's outlet. So what that means? So by the way, for those who don't know, Greg's is a bakery, and they're a chain of bakeries, and so they sell their main kind of food that they sell are these pasties,
the
which are
sausage
traditional
pastries. Yeah,
and sausage pastries. So pasties are traditional English pastry dish, and they sell like sausage rolls and pizza slices, and they sell cakes as well and things like that, and cakes and donuts and stuff like that. So in my case, the nearest one to my house is a Greg's outlet. It used to be a regular Greg's, but it became a Greg's outlet. What that means is that instead of having food fresh, freshly made or freshly baked, they will have basically the leftovers or the misshapen ones or the kind of misfires from other Gregs in
Oh,
the
no.
in Birmingham. And the thing is that the bounty of this is that they are extremely cheap. I could get like at least like a week's lunches from this Greg's outlet for like £5.
What?
It would be like yeah.
wow,
Yeah, you can get £2, like I could get four
Wow.
pasties for like £3, I think, and a box of donuts for another £3, and
box.
that's like a box of donuts, like four donuts, and the and here's the thing, one like product that is exclusive to Greg's outlets that you don't get in a regular Greg's is called the chocolate caramel cutoffs. So basically, in a regular Greg's, they'll have like a square of like this the sweet bake, which is a chocolate caramel and the shortbread base,
Wow.
right? So they need to cut that into shape. So the cutoffs are then put in a bag and then sent to the Greg's outlets. And to me, this is my favorite thing to get because you can get like big chunks of caramel or big chunks of chocolate in each bag. So that's why I enjoy Greg's, because it is cheap. It is, and it is the thing. The prices at a regular Greg's are still relatively good. A pasty will set you back, I think, like £2.50, which is cheap, which is a good filling, warm lunch. That and it just it tastes good. So yeah, Greg's I think is very very yummy. Greg's is one of those things that I think is much like Zabka in that there's like one everywhere. I think in town there's like two or three within walking distance of each other. They're practically ubiquitous in any kind of city in the UK. There's a thing called the Greg's line,
Oh.
which is like the density of Greg's across the country. And essentially the north south divide is essentially kind of winds its way through the country based on the density of Gregs in each area. And so the south has fewer Gregs per capita, I suppose, than the north of this imaginary line.
Correct.
Thankfully Birmingham is in the north, according to this graph, which I definitely do believe there are many Gregs. But yeah, I do enjoy eating Gregs.
The
The
more northern you
stuff is
are, the more
tasty.
you know Greg.
The more you love Gregs, the more noise you are. But Joe, is there any kind of equivalent to
I don't know.
that?
It's very hard because
You don't go outside?
I don't ever exit my my space inside my room. It has the exit dimension, the extra dimensional portal. No, it's more that I just go on public transit, so I don't guess I really go out much in that sort of like my town has a local store which supplies a lot of stuff, but that's more or less just like a town shop. That's not really a
Sure.
convenience store. So the next best thing I could really point to is the Albertijn.
Yes,
that is
the
found.
Albertijn,
That
yes.
is found on nearly every single. So the Albertijn is basically just a grocery store, but at the same time, it sort of turns into a pseudo convenience store when at stations. There's still mostly just food to get there, but at the same time some convenience stuff. It's kind of weird, but in the sense of getting food from there is basically my experience with so-called convenience store foods, because they have on the stations I go to, they have a lot of pre-made, fresh bakery. So no, not fresh bakery, fresh. No, not bakery. Pastries, sandwiches.
Right, sandwiches. Okay.
Sandwiches, and so that's the healthy stuff they have. But they also have kaasbroodjes, which is basically just like these cheese rolls. But then they have the absolute most gross thing, the most greasy thing, which you can ever get on any station, in my opinion, which is the pepperoni half bread pizza, which they just throw in an oven, throw it into a plastic bag, and throw it into the thingy. You can buy them for like €2, €4, I don't know, each, and then you just have like a small pizza snack, which has been pre-made. It's the same across all of the convenience stores. I would say that with regards to actual healthy stuff, the sandwiches win. They have gehaktballen, which is basically meatballs. They have meatballs with mayonnaise inside of a sandwich.
That's yummy. That's great. Yeah.
So just meatballs in a sandwich. They also just have other healthy stuff, but then if it gets to the most memey, the most memey thing, I would say that those pizza breads really win.
Yummy. Okay. Cool. Well, I better try that next time I go to Netherlands for Jasfest NL. Of course.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that there are any of like the convenience stores in Poland are that good. They said Żabka is just convenient. It's just what it is.
It's just convenient.
It's just convenient. It's literally
It's
everywhere.
just there.
It's literally and some of their food is just like straight up kind of cursed. Especially when they have the way they do like limited event time hot dogs. They always look like gross and chemical.
What the fuck? That's so funny.
Like they're doing like a
God.
pink flavored Valentine's hot dog with a pink bun and pink one. For beginning of the school year, they did like a purple hot dog. They've done like a completely black hot dog before, and I have no idea why. They all look like very suspicious. But yeah, it's like Żabka is just there, and they're mediocre. It's just there, and I especially looking at like we planned. There's 7-Eleven is moving to Poland for some reason.
Oh God.
Like they're trying to compete with Żabka in Warsaw. I don't know if they'll go anywhere. Meanwhile, Żabka is like trying to go international. I think they're gonna start opening stores in Germany.
The
frog conquest. Yeah. I keep watching video to answer the question, and I feel like I keep watching videos about like Japanese 7-Eleven and how like they're good their convenience food is. So I don't know if that's true, but that always look good.
Well, the thing is about 7-Eleven in Europe is that, like, I think basically only a few countries actually have 7-Elevens in Europe, and mostly like Nordic ones. I think like Denmark and Sweden have 7-Elevens. So if it's the European 7-Eleven, maybe it'll be okay. But if it's the American 7-Eleven, then you know, God rest your soul.
Yeah, I've seen it myself. So yeah. Ugh.
The next question is from Kyo, who is Kyo at kitsunes.club. If the diameter of the sun is roughly 17 quintillion potatoes, assuming my roof was flat and made of plasma TVs, what is the color of purchasing a vowel from your local hypermarket? Please explain your reasoning in cubic hot dogs.
Can I answer first?
Yeah, sure, Joe. You go.
Okay.
You go ahead first.
My answer is yes.
Yeah, that's my answer too. I'd go with the yes as well. Kris, are you gonna go with the majority here, or are you gonna strike out on your own?
No, I'm going with the majority here. I'm afraid.
Okay. Kris is a poser. You see, Kris is a poser. I can't believe it. Following the crowd, huh? You sheeple. Wake up, no. Sheeple. Did you know Joe is Dutch?
Oh no.
The next question is from Jelly, who is at Neku at tech.lgbt. Love goes out to Neku, one of the longest serving friends on this platform. He was an ooh boy and she was an OO girl. Can it work out, or is that too straight? I think it could work out. I think it could work out. You know, they got the same vibes going on. You know what I mean?
It
What do
can
you
work
guys think?
out. Yeah, I feel like it's certainly it might take some work, but it should work out in the
I
end.
think so too. Yeah, true love conquers everything. You know.
I have a way too serious answer off the top of my head, but this is fine.
Go ahead.
No, this is
Oh,
fine.
okay.
With
Okay. The next question is from a silly guy who is at at tech.lgbt. If you had a big brown beaver, what would you do with him?
Let them loose in Amsterdam.
Oh my god, they would love the dams, wouldn't they? They would love the dams. You know, I would do the same thing because obviously Birmingham is full of canals, so they would love the dams here. They would love the canals here too. Yeah. I think I would do the same.
This is not out of any improvement of Amsterdam. This is
no.
cause
It
chaos.
just will be fun. Oh, it would just be fun. Like it would just be fun to have the beaver.
No, there would be an infestation.
Does Katowice have canals, Chris?
Does Katowice have canals? Like you mean
Yeah.
like oh, you mean like war canals like in Venice or something? Or like dams like Netherlands?
Yeah.
No, Katowice, there's a single river going through Katowice, and the only thing that's worth noting about it is that it smells like shit. That's
just like every other big city with a massive river going through
pretty much. Yeah. So and there's
What
enough.
would you do with
what would they do with a beaver? Where there's enough beavers on the loose in Poland anyway. So I don't know. I would maybe take it home and see if it would like the cats.
Aww. For some reason,
That's
I'm
cute.
reminded of an anecdote of going to London, and
I'm sorry for your loss.
And then for some reason, finding it to be a good idea to try a public pool thingy, which was submerged in the Thames, some kind of boat which has some kind of net which submerges into the Thames, and then swimming inside of that. So swimming inside of the Thames. I'm just like, it was so full. Yeah, it was so full of algae, and I'm just like, why did I ever do that?
Wow. Actually, speaking of rivers through major cities, by the way, so you know that Paris is hosting the 2024.
Yeah, I've seen a video about that. It's really interesting how the old sewer system of Paris worked, and what they're trying to do to fix it, because it basically just flushes into the Seine.
It's just They just flush the sewage system. Just flushes shit into the river Seine, which is why like no one can swim in it. But here's what's crazy: is that Paris wants to have water events in the river, but the river is full of shit, so they gotta clean it up. And the games are fast approaching, and I believe so far that the mayor is kind of actually doing okay in terms of cleaning the river up. I'm not sure like how good the progress is at the moment, but apparently it's actually going relatively well. But the games are very, very soon, so she really needs to step it up to make them actually like clean in like a way that like doesn't kill the spectators when they try and doesn't kill the athletes when they try and swim in it.
It gives them some extra immunities, don't worry. The triathlon becomes an endurance of who can last the longest with the bacteria. So the next question is from Garlic Luna, who is Luna at catgirl.center. What's it like living in a universe that's ending? Oh right, because I said that if you two came on the show, the universe would end. Oh.
So sorry, everyone else.
I had a way too serious answer when I first saw this one, which I already forgot because my brain was like, had scrubbed it because it was like, yeah, that's too dark. You go away. But okay, it's
All I
no.
have to say is, finally,
Shut
Finally.
up.
yeah.
Wow,
Oh,
oh, Chris.
I don't know. It's
Well, if the universe is ending, and I'm glad glad it's ending with you two with me.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I don't know. It's still
Next question.
okay.
Next question is from Jossix, who is Joshix at Foss Pride or Fosspree.de. How does it feel to get a second chance talking to them on the Yascast? I think it's absolutely wonderful to have these two on the show again. Obviously,
Aw.
I do enjoy Chris and Joe talking to them just casually and generally, and the first attempts at the episodes. I think it was great to have both of you be the first two guests. I think because you two are both uh, people I really enjoy talking to about for kind of topics. So I think it was a good opportunity to have two of you. I feel like I would. The thing is, I would like to do those episodes again, just because I've grown a lot as a host and as an editor on the show. And I mean,
Kelsey, you're not helping the time travel.
but I mean, the thing is that Joe, your episode is still the most
I
listened to episode
so
by
it
far. Like
scares me
even
a lot because yeah, it's the first episode, so obviously that's going to be listened to. But I'm so just baffled, scared, intimidated by the fact that that's my. As much as I hate to admit it, my popularity kind of scares me. I don't really work with it, but at the same time, I'm just like, it's there, yeah. I don't know.
yeah, actually, let me bring the stats up again because they obviously changed the last time I looked at them, which was like a few weeks ago actually. Um, Oh, I got a answer to Q&A on my latest episode.
Oh.
Didn't listen, but I'm sure it's good.
Huh.
Thank you, Graphite at shonk.fight.ro. That's very that's great. Thank you. I'm going to publish this one because it's the only one there. That's okay. Sure, fine, whatever. That's great. So let's have a look at episode rankings. Yeah, so the topmost episode is still episode with Joe, which has 693 views, and Chris, your episode is in 4th place with 350 views.
Oh, I'm very insecure about that. I feel like I was not easy to listen to.
Well, I guess not, because it's number 4. I mean, you're only behind Mia by like 30 views, so it's a very impressive score there, to be honest.
Oh,
But yeah, so you two, you're quite up there. So yeah, I'm glad to have the two of you back on here. But obviously, what's your answer to that question? As if you'd have a second chance to be on the show with me.
oh, well, well. I said it before. I'm extremely happy to be able to talk to you both, especially in the same space. So yeah, I'm also feels exciting for me because, as I said before, I'm very insecure about the previous podcast. So I'm hoping I'm a bit more entertaining this time.
And
You're
Joe, your answer?
fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah. I have my soundboard here. I could make some funny noises, but right now I'm just like I'm too relaxed. I'm too it's
Too chill.
too chill.
Yes.
It's really
It's very
nice to be able
chill
to
mode.
info dump about anything.
The next question is from Serena, who is at Serenita at tech.lgbt. Would a sushi watch have affected the outcome of the War of Roses? If so, why? Was John England cited in Cheapside the following Thursday? I don't know what this means.
What does
Serena.
sushi watch mean?
I don't know what a sushi watch is either. Like, is that a watch made out of sushi? I looked it up and
I'm gonna boost
like
this.
nothing has. Yeah, like I don't really know what the fuck that means. I'm sorry, Serena. I can't really answer your question.
This is an art piece of a
It
question.
is an art piece. Some of these questions are art pieces. Yeah. But I mean, I didn't know Serena was British until this moment.
What? Why
I
does this
don't know.
does this have the British vibes?
Well, War of Roses is a British
Conflict, yeah.
yeah, it's a conflict that happened in England, and John Inman was in a British sitcom called Are You Being Served? Cheapside is a common name for a district in English cities. So there's a Cheapside in Birmingham, and I presume there's a Cheapside in London. So yeah, I'm guessing Serena does not mean the Cheapside in Birmingham. But yeah, the question is very, very kind of British, or unless, or maybe Serena might be like a Teaboo, in which case that terrifies me.
Teaboo, seriously?
Yeah, that's a real thing. Teaboos. Yeah,
It is,
people who are
yeah.
like people who believe that Britain is like London and everything else. Well, that's just like people from London in general, I suppose. But people who really think that Britain is essentially Harry Potter, Doctor, and Top Gear, and
Wait,
that's it. Like,
I think she's
I mean,
American.
if somebody thinks of like Britain, thinks of like Top Gear and thinks that's
Tonight
like a
on
positive
Bottom
view of
Gear.
Britain, then
Bottom Gear.
That meme has
Yeah,
outlived its own life cycle many times, and I love it.
think that everywhere you go in the UK, there's a chance you'll be hit by like Richard Hammond, just like going at extreme speeds and whatever.
And also, everyone wears top hats and speaks in the Queen's
Victorian
English too.
Yeah.
But everyone does say water bottle, so there's that.
People think, okay, no, this is a bad joke, but I wanted to somehow hook the fact that Clarkson shouts Hammond way too often, and so I was just like, hey, maybe they expect that to happen every day.
The next question is from Lily, who is at meow@floofy.city. And just so you guys know, their instance fav emoji is the floofy neocat, by the way.
Yes.
Very cute. So her question to us is, will the yes go... Oh, gotta boost that fucking post, don't I? Will the yes go company make us millionaires? Do you two know what this is about?
I don't know enough. I don't know enough financial terms to make a funny joke out of this.
What the fuck? What the fuck happened, bro? I mean, like, I literally like looked away from the computer for like 10 minutes. I swear. And there's like a whole thread I got tagged in where people were naming like computer stuff after me. Like someone named Yes Go after me, and then they made like the DuckDuckGo logo, but with my profile picture with a duck mouth. Someone named Yasdon with Yes Down. Like, what the fuck is Yes Down?
What is
like? What's that supposed to be?
What is Yes Down? Huh?
Even like Markdown, except
yes.
Who's Mark?
Oh God.
I'm sorry. It's not meant as a mark as a name, but mark as in marking down. Markdown. It's
why is Mark sad? Why don't you cheer him up? Why, if Mark is down, cheer him up?
Oh dear.
There's other stuff too, like they named other stuff after me, like like latex, but Yastex.
I saw that one.
Yes, yeah, and I'm just like, I was like, what is happening to me? Like, this happens so often that you guys will just do something about me, and it terrifies me. It terrifies me. It's like, and then also I found out that on Tech.LGBT, you guys have local only posts, and some of those local only posts contain Yas law that I can't see.
It's happened a few. I remember 1 or 2 times where we accidentally got to talking about you, and that suddenly became Yaslar. But yeah.
It's like, what? Why are you so obsessed with me, guys? Why are you so obsessed?
Okay, actually, no. Okay, just a day ago, you revealed to me that the Yaseenist cult started offline, and now I'm
Yes.
seriously asking to hear this story.
About okay. So firstly, the word Yasinus actually was defined by my friend Tasha, and it just meant someone who was my friend.
Oh,
Right. So obviously now it's not doesn't have that meaning anymore. But the other thing is that, like, so for example, my friends would also make Yas law about me. The greatest example of such is the one I mentioned with on Jessica's episode, which is when I was at the pub with everyone. I went to get a drink from the bar. It was a pint of Coke, by the way. I came back and they had all unilaterally decided that I was born in 2016. I appeared fully formed from the ether in 2016, and that was it. And I was like,
how drunk was everyone?
I think relatively tipsy.
How high
think-
was everyone?
No, I don't think anyone was high at that
Oh
time.
damn!
So yeah, that was like one of the first pieces of like law in that I can remember. There's probably been more beforehand, but that's like one of the ones I remember. So yeah, the concept of people making up weird or saying weird stuff is a time honored tradition. And then in terms of cult stuff, so I had a party at my house for my birthday, and I went to leave to pick someone up from the station. And then I came back, and they had just decided that we were going to be Heaven's Gate 2.0, and I was going to be the leader.
Heavens! Oh no!
And I was the leader, and I was like, "What? Yeah, you're the leader of our cult now." Oh, okay, cool. So it's happened twice that I have been like forced into this role without like anyone actually consulting me or checking with me or okay. So there's a fair few questions left. I'm gonna speed run through them, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So next one is from Luna at luna.place. Which of the following is superior? Oh god. So the which of the following is superior? Meow, meow, mew, Nia. Why do I have to say this stuff on?
So wow, now official Yaseen meowing footage.
Oh god, I meowed on stream. Oh fucking hell.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Again.
Which of the following is again? Yeah, okay. Which of the following is by the way, Luna also said, I like to imagine that when Yassi first read this, they ought to be subside because they're now gonna have to say all that on a podcast. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
That is exactly what happened. So which of the following is superior? I think meow, because it is classic.
That's what literally word for word what I was gonna say.
I think
So,
yeah.
I respect it.
I think that yeah one is more superior because it has more of the more gremlin kind of feeling to it.
Sure. That makes sense. No. It's obvious that me and Kris thought the same thing because we're related.
Yeah.
Right, I will skip over the lovely debate that we had in the comment section describing mewing, which was very, very amusing.
Oh,
but I was
God.
have to move through all that. Oh, what did you guys think of this creature, by the way? I thought it was completely terrifying. This is from Harper, who is Bluebee at EP.
I don't even know what this is.
It's a remlet. I don't know what the hell that is either, by the way.
I have no
it looks
idea.
kind of adorable, but at the same time, it sort of falls into a weird and uncanny valley. So I don't know.
Yes, exactly. I agree. Right. Next question is from Sega Dream. Nope, that's me. Next question is from Aste, who is at aste@leah.pet. How is Joe? I presume it's at. This is at you.
So
Joe.
how is pound sign, dollar sign, a percentage sign? What's the next one? That's the asterisks, ampersand, plus at Joe.w2f allowed to be a thing. So
wait, including the special characters?
Sorry?
Including the special
characters? That's an email address, yes. So how is that supposed to be a thing?
Oh!
I'm fairly sure that most email clients will not accept this as an email address. But I was looking up for my own website. There's a Jo.WTF. That's my actual website. Near the bottom there says my contacts page. Click here to download. It doesn't download anything. It just loads the other page, which says some ways I'm available, and then a list of email addresses. And this is one of the latter ones. So basically, what I was doing when I made that page, I was just like, okay, I'm just going to list the obvious one, but then progressively, I'm going to try to be funnier. So eventually, I looked up what the actual technical specifications are for an email address, and all of the special characters which are allowed in there technically, and these should all technically work in. I think actually the plus is fucking it up, so I should put it into another. So I should maybe remove it. But technically, if someone would make an email with this address, it should arrive at my mail server.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So how is it allowed to be a thing? Technically, it is allowed, so it should be a thing. That's the answer.
It should be a thing. Okay. Right. I'm gonna skip through a few questions. Apologies to a couple of you I had to skip earlier as well. Next question I'm gonna skip straight to is to Meti. If you three had to form an alliance to take over the kingdom of Slovakia, what would your invasion strategy be?
Chris?
I would carpet bomb them.
I would say full-on nuclear warfare.
Good. I'm glad we're all
no.
We're all on the same page.
No, I'm not on the same page. I'm gonna say political infiltration.
Oh, that's actually a good idea. I should have gone with that first before the nuclear warhead thing. So the next one is from a Demon Queen Lucreta.
No, the one from Snappo.
Oh,
right?
Oh yes, sorry, I forgot. Yes, Snappo, I forgot that one. For any of you, what has been your favorite Metafedi joke or trend?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
For me as well, there's been so many.
There's been so many. Obviously, I'm partial to the TT copy pasta just because it's just so like life changing. It changed Fedi, you know. I like shrimp posting. I like shrimp posting a lot. That was quite funny.
Shrimp posting? What?
Shrimp posting? Yeah, people just posted shrimp like all the time. It was great. People changed their name to shrimp. People posted pictures. Of
that reminds me of the DM me the word bread friend for a while.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, there's also Wet Dry World with Tim Sweeney.
Tim Sweeney.
Sorry for anyone listening to this and skipping to this exact moment, but Tim Sweeney.
Tim Sweeney. Who out here Sweening Day Tims right now?
Oh man, I genuinely don't know which one to pick. There's so many cool ones.
Try pick a few ones if you can remember them. Like one.
I like Yaseen assassinating JFK and being responsible for all the horrors of the world. That's a classic.
Oh, I love calling a website.
John Mastodon in general again.
Okay, this one is a really good one because it kind of recedes into the background, but the Neo Foxes and Neo Cats and custom emojis in general, you have no idea how unique that is to the Fediverse. The fact that it just spreads around.
Oh, that's true. It's very true.
Yeah. Thank you, Snapper, for this great question. Actually, it's a very good question. The next one, I'm just skipping through to the ones I can see. So next one is from Lucretia at final.town. We all know you can fascinate a woman with a piece of cheese, but what can we use to fascinate each of you? For me, it's very clearly you, the girl listening to this.
Oh, that's sweet.
Please marry me.
Yes. For me, I don't know.
Thank you, Joe, for agreeing that they should marry me.
No, wait, no.
No, not that you should marry me. That the person listening, who is a woman, should marry me. Like I thank you for agreeing with that statement. Unless you want to marry me, Joe.
Okay, my answer to this question is I don't know, an interesting, a kind of half broken computer system, maybe. Oh wait, no, an intricate fantasy magic system,
Ooh,
or any kind of
yeah,
intricate technological / magical system in any fictional work, basically.
that's cool. And for you, Chris?
Well, a piece of cheese works too, but an obscure, really cool musical release always works for me too. Especially from a non-Western country.
Ooh.
True.
Some obscure piece of, I don't know, historical, like archaeological news or whatever, or whatever like that. But mostly cheese. Cheese is
Mostly
just,
cheese.
I love
Okay.
cheese.
All right. I think I'll take a couple more questions from the list. So apologies to everyone else. We're gonna eventually miss out. The next question is from a journalist who is at Torpang at wetdry.world. I love journalist. Sorry, Autumn. Autumn is their name. What would be the first name to write in the Death Note for you guys, for everyone? I mean, I would write. It's a hard choice, really, isn't it? There's so many names that you would write in the Death Note. I personally, I think I would pick Rupert Murdoch just because he has done so much damage to the political and social like fabric of many nations, including the US and of course the UK and Australia. That I think his name would be the first. Unfortunately, I don't think it would actually do anything to change the whole thing, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, I think that guy.
Hmm. I thought way too seriously about this question, and honestly, it's been even more serious because specifically today, I did like a whole bunch of moderation stuff for a
Right,
project on
sure.
Telegram, which is basically just going through a lot of fascist / Nazi Telegram groups and deciding if they are bad enough to be banned, all the people in them. But like, my honest opinion is that I could not. It's not. My brain does not work with that kind of hate. I don't know. If I would say, like, could I really be? It's basically the same question. Of am I really willing to kill someone else? Which is no,
No.
no.
And that's fair enough, I think. That's a fair enough answer. And that's probably the answer that was, I think that's probably the question that was posed by the whole anime, in a sense. So, yeah, it's great that I obviously did not understand the message of the anime until this very, very
Yeah.
moment. But no, I think your answer is perfectly good. What about you, Chris?
I don't know. Anytime I do something embarrassing, I feel like I should write down my own name.
Oh,
No,
please.
Chris.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris, no, no.
Uh,
You know what? I'm just gonna confiscate it from you.
yes.
Oh.
I would just confiscate it from you, Chris. I think I would do that.
Oh.
That's you know what? That's
Confiscate
my
the
answer.
Death Note.
Okay. If I
That's
got
that's
a Death Note, I would confiscate it. Like I wouldn't write anything in it. I wouldn't let anyone write anything in it. I would confiscate
take
it
the
and I would
power
like
away
bury
from the
it.
world.
I would I
Yeah.
would bury it in a ditch. I would no, you know what? I'd throw it into the canals.
Throw it
Okay, I'd throw it
into
in the
the
canals
ocean.
because throw it in the ocean. If some fish can write English in the book, they're more than welcome to do so. But yeah, I would throw it in the ocean. I'd throw it in the ocean. Okay. Phew. Right. Do you guys want to pick a question each, and then we'll close off?
What is everyone's unbiased opinions on the French? I have no unbiased opinions on the French. I'm sorry.
No unbiased opinions on the French.
So
Yeah.
you're picking the question from Gooey Gooey,
Yeah.
and their question was, "What is everyone's unbiased opinions on French?" So Chris, you've already answered. My
Yeah.
answer is, well, I obviously am also equally equally biased. My opinion on French is that they are people who
Debatable.
How bold of a statement.
debatable. I mean, has the hesitation in my voice before I said people there.
Yeah.
I know a fair few French people, and they are absolutely lovely.
It's
Yeah.
Um,
I'm just joking around as well.
of course.
For the record.
it's weird because it's just an anecdote, double anecdote. My brother went to Finland for his college.
You have a brother?
No, my brother went. Direct evasion. No, my younger brother went to college in Finland, and he met a lot of international students there. But the French always kept to themselves. He said, like no mingling, just talking by themselves, sitting by themselves, and I'm just like, huh? And even on Fetty, I feel like the French have a very isolated vibe. My opinion on it is just very complex, but definitely not unbiased.
Sure. And Joe, what's your question that you're going to pick?
The philosophical one: how, or even better, why, or even the mysterious when.
This question is from Marcus Pandy at void.rehab. Wow. Well, these are very complex questions. And because they're so complex, I just won't answer them.
I can answer them. How is M theory? Why is instant blank here? And when is now?
Kris, your answer to this question.
I'm just like my brain is just churning. Just reading this,
Yeah.
We can end it.
My answer is meow. That's what I'm
meow.
gonna say.
Okay. Chris's answer is meow, and I haven't said meow.
No
again.
thoughts, head empty, only meow meow.
Only meow.
Only meow. Ah,
Only
God, this
Neo
is the
Fox
third time I've
Pass.
meowed. Only Neo Fox Pat. That's true. No, I'm sending you my patting emoji.
Oh no.
Both of you get the patting emoji.
Oh no.
Your profile picture being patted. That's what I'm sending to you right now, telepathically.
Oh no.
I think that's the perfect place to round up this episode. If the two of you are okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sounds fine.
Okay, great, cool. Time to do the credits. Oh God, this is like the 11th episode. I still like the credits. Always are the bit that goes all wonky. Anyway, it has been absolutely lovely to have you both here. I really appreciate the two of you coming out.
Likewise.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of fun. I hope you two did.
Oh no. Chelsea, it has already started. I just looked at my wrist and I saw from the Blue Sky app, new follower, and then just some random person. Oh no.
Oh God, it's happening. Guys, Joe, we already have a Blue Sky at home.
That's true.
Mastodon.social.
Wow.
But yeah, it's been lovely to have you both here. I really hope. I'm really glad that we did this. It's definitely a nice continuation from our first episodes. You can consider it like a part 2 in a way. This is where you agree with me, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
you for
it was
agreeing
a
with me.
pleasure. It was my pleasure.
I was
to
eating
you,
some
and
pizza, but I was
hopefully-
nodding viciously.
Oh, you're nodding. Okay, thankfully
Yes,
I can see you,
nodding
right,
for the
Joe?
internet. Federated nods.
Federating nods. After federated bites come federated nods.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, and I hope I will meet you both in real life.
I hope
You
so
for
too.
the
I hope
first time,
so.
Messi, and you, Joe, again.
Yes, I hope I get to see both of you in real life.
Yeah.
There will definitely be a Yas Fest Netherlands for sure. I am planning on a little trip to see my Dutch friend.
Aw.
So, Hummus, who you've met, Kris, who you haven't met yet, Joe. I think.
I have not. I've met some
No.
fetty creatures the last weekend, but
No. You haven't met my. No. I mean, like we've. Don't worry. What?
I will meet.
But yeah, you will be aware of the hummus. So
I will be aware.
You will be made aware. Anyway, thank you very much to Jo and Kris for coming along. This has been the Yascast episode FFX-2, which is of course reference to Final Fantasy X2, which was the 13th game in the series. And did you also know that 1-3 in binary is no? Wait, this is the 11th episode. What the fuck? Why did I say 13? This is the 11th episode of the Yascast.
You're getting lost in your own system here.
My own naming scheme as
Yeah.
best, yeah. This is the 11th episode of the Yascast, and did you guys know that 11 as a binary sequence is the number 3? Which means that this is the actual 3rd episode of the Yascast. The lost episode has been
Yaseen,
found.
not Valve,
Oh my
confirmed.
goodness. So thank you very much for the two of you for joining along this session. I really appreciate it. So yeah, so that's it. That's the end of the episode. Thank you very much for two of you coming along.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I've been Yaseen, your host, who is at Yaseen_J at 0W. Nope, not anymore. Who is at Yaseen_J at labyrinth.zone. This has been Jo.
And Kris.
Say no.
This has been Jo.
I was leaving a space for you to say something. This has been Jo.
Hello. Wait, no.
Who is at
Goodbye. No, this has been Jo. At shadowjonathan.attack.lgbt.
And also Kris.
16 married, 0 found. And Nally at .lgbt.
It's very nice of you guys to say your own names. Say your own handles. I was going to do that part, but whatever. This episode was hosted, directed, produced, edited, and cleaned up by me, Yaseen. Not written, not this time. That is. Mixing and mastering was done by Gamer, who is at gamer at bungle.online. I keep saying Bungie. Gamer at bungle.online. And guest starring Jo and Kris. That's good night from me, and hopefully good night from my guests.
All right. See you. Have a good night.
Take care, all.
Take care. Bye-bye. The end.